Hey everyone, welcome to this online practice session of typing. So as we all know that both IFOA and IAI and some other institute as well are now requiring the online typing based exams, right? And students usually struggle to convert their mathematical written answers into the word script. So to solve this problem, we are now conducting the online typing sessions for subjects like CS1, CM2, CM1, CS2 and furthermore. So if you are someone who are giving the exam which are typing based and want to practice the typing, please stay tuned with me throughout this video and the further videos as well. Now please note that this video is completely technical and we will not be learning the concepts here. We will only be focusing on the efficiency of typing. As we all know that the concepts are already covered in our live classes. Okay, so let me tell you the schedule of the class of today's. Firstly, we will be covering some basic MS Word shortcuts since it is our first class, and then we will covering some portions from probability distribution chapter 2 of CS1 and generating functions chapter 3 of CS1, and we would be covering some questions in it. Cool. Now also both the institutes allow two approaches of typing. First one is use of equation editor and second one is normal mathematical typing without the use of equation editor. Both the approaches are completely acceptable. No institute restrict any of either. Okay, so I would be discussing both the approaches. Some questions from approach 1, some questions from approach 2. So it's up to you whether you want to use approach 1, 2 or the combined version of both the approaches. Okay, now some students may feel like that we are going very slow, but trust me, these sessions are aimed to focus on the typing, assuming that students have not opened MS Word till now. Okay, so let's start with the basic shortcuts first. So let us write MS Word shortcuts. Okay, first one is Control plus N. Let's start with opening the new document. It's to open a new document. Let's just not underline it. Then we have Control plus S. This is to save the document. Now this becomes very important. Why? Because both the exams restrict the autosave functionality. So in this case you have to continuously press Control plus S to make sure that your document is duly and timely saved. Okay. Then let's come to our newer command, which is some basics like underlining text, then Control B to bold out the text, then we have Control I for italic font. Though you are not supposed to or asked to use italic font, but just basic shortcut. Then we have Control Z to undo some command. For example, you typed something wrong or you mistakenly deleted something, so to undo it. Then we have Control Y to redo some command. Okay. Then another most important is Control plus Enter. Why this is important? Let me state it. This is to go to a newer page. Now for a presentable answer, what I recommend is that you should start every new question from a newer page. Okay, so what usually most students do is they continuously press this enter sign. Now this is very time taking, and plus if you add in between something, so this gets this elongates your answer sheets. Okay, and your answer may be coming at the end of the script or at the middle of the scripts that look unpresentable. That's why what students are advised is to press Control and Enter keys simultaneously. Okay, Control Enter and you automatically shifts to the newer page. Now अगर आप बीच में any page आप add भी करते हो, कोई content भी add करते हो, so there is no issue. Your newer page will start. Okay, your script will always start from the top of the page. That's what we are supposed to do. Cool. So these were some shortcuts. Now let's move to the use of equation editor. Okay, I am assuming here that you have never heard of equation editor. Okay, so let's start with equation editor. Equation editor needs a bar where you need to place your equation or some symbol, whatever you want. Okay, So to get that bar, you have to click Alt equal to. What is it? It's Alt equal to. Now some student might be getting this bar in the center, okay, but what we are advised that we maintain the left alignment. So usko left में कैसे लेके आएंगे? How do we bring it to the left? Click on this arrow like symbol. Is it visible? Click on this arrow like symbol. This tab opens. Then go to this justification. Mine is left because I have already set it at left. You click it at left. Then make sure to press default. Otherwise it will remain only for this document, and from the further document it will be coming in the center only. Okay, click default, then yes, and then okay. Now every time you click Alt plus equal to, Alt and equal to simultaneously, you will be getting the equation editor bar in the left. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, now if someone is using the normal, now if I have to use say lambda, I have to get the lambda sign. What I will do is, equation editor starts mostly symbols, Greek symbols, Latin symbols from this backslash. One under your backspace key, backslash, and then write, for example, lambda, the whole words, and click space bar, you get lambda. For example, mu, you write mu with the backslash and then click space bar. Similarly, gamma, space bar. Now look, we have two gamma signals, right? This one and this one. So how do we press 2? So these are case sensitive. Now this is a smaller gamma and this is cap lock gamma. Okay, so to use this we have to write capital G, and for this we have to write small g, and rest of the letters are in small. Cool. And please make sure that equation editor is case sensitive. Now if you are not using equation editor, so how do you enter these symbols? Okay, so what you have to do is go to this file option, then go to options, then go to your proofing. Here you can see the autocorrect options, right? Click here, then go to math autocorrect, the second tab, and make sure that both these boxes are ticked. Okay, if yours are not, then this might not be ticked, so make sure to tick it and click on OK, then OK. Now say I write lambda, I get I get lambda, mu, gamma. It works exactly like equation editor. If we are talking about symbols, we want sum, we want integration, we want inft. Okay, so we would be providing you with the scripts, like what word to enter if you want infinity, what word to enter if you want integration. So we will be providing you the document for this, but make sure you are focusing on the class and noting it down, whatever symbol I am using and what word or what command I am giving to the system. Okay, good. So now let us start with the specific questions. Firstly, we would be covering chapter 2, that is a probability distribution. Cool. So let us first go to control enter, the newer page, and then look at the question. So firstly, we would be starting with a question 2.6. Let's read it out. An analyst is interested in using a gamma distribution with parameters this and this, and with density function this and this. So firstly, we would note down what we are being given. Okay, so we would note down the parameters and then the distribution functions. Cool. So we are doing question 2.6. Enter. We are given alpha. So what we did was backslash and alpha. This is equal to 2. Then I want to give the space tab. One tab, this amount of space. Another tab, this amount of space. Okay. So to increase the space by a higher magnitude, you have to click tab. Otherwise, the space bar is also okay. Then backslash and lambda is equal to 0.5. Otherwise, if you are using equation editor, alt equal to, you get this bar, then write alpha is equal to 2, and here tab do not work, so please make sure you are giving this space bar, then lambda and equal to 0.5. I hope this is clear. So let us keep just one of these for a question. Then we have the density function PDF fx is equal to, what we are given is 1 by 4. How to write 1 by 4? 1, then this bivalve sign, this is not slash, backslash, this is single slash, okay, normal slash. So slash 4. Then our fraction is done. If we wanted to write 42, then we could write 42. Then give a space bar, okay. Then we have x, so simply write x. Then we have e. Now we have something in the power of e. So for power sign, we have to click this, okay, press this sign. Then since we do not have a single digit in the power, we need to use brackets. Otherwise, it will only consider the first digit, okay. So brackets में we have 1 by 4 again. It's 1 by 4, 1 by 2, 1 by 2, and then we have x. It's done. Brackets close. Then again a space bar, and we got the function. We also have been given the range, so it's 0, less than, x, less than, and it's infinity. How to write infinity? Backslash inf t space. Cool. Now let's come to its first question, what we have been asked. We have been asked to state the mean and standard deviation of this distribution. So we simply know the formulas. Let's do it. Firstly, equation editor bar. Then we need to calculate expectation of x. From tables book, the formula is alpha by lambda. So firstly, we would state the formulas. Backslash alpha space normal slash for divide, because we want a fraction, right? Then backslash lambda space, and since we want it in fraction, we want to press another space. Cool. Then we will put the values 2 by 0.5 space to get the fraction equal to 4. We would just bold out the answer. I always recommend bolding out the final answer so that examiner can clearly see your answer, okay? Then we have another, we have ST now, standard deviation x. What's its formula? It's square root of alpha by lambda square. Alpha by lambda square is variance, so we are putting the square root as well. So please clearly see this backslash for square root. SQRT is for square root. Space, we got a square root. Now since there is no single digit, we would use the brackets. Okay, bracket. Then what we want is alpha by lambda square. So simply how did we write alpha by lambda? We will do same. Okay. So it backslash alpha space by normal slash, again backslash for lambda, lambda space, space for the fraction, bracket close, space, space किस लिए बना हमने? For the square root to come over it. Okay. Then equal to, then we missed the square here, right? So look, now since I missed something, so how do you reach it? First is use your mouse and reach at this. Use your mouse and just click where you want to do this. So I wanted a square, so I use this sign and square. Otherwise use the arrow keys, okay? Whether to change the place, use the arrow keys. Cool. Now we are putting the values simply. Values are 2 by 0.5 का whole square space is equal to square root of 8 is equal to 2.828. Again we would just bold out the final answer. This. Clear? For second. Now second answer is theoretical answer. For theoretical answers, I always advise using the normal text functionality and not use the equation editor. Why I say so? Because in equation editor, there is higher possibility that your answer goes out in this blank space of the Word document, okay? And you won't even know that. And you can't copy, you can't press enter in equation editor, okay? So it will take time. So I always recommend using a normal text functionality. You can use, as I said, you can combine both the approaches. There is no hard and fast rule कि आपको यही use करना है और you have to use this. Okay, you can combine both. So second question is, since what is, let's read the second question first. It says comment briefly on its shape. So firstly we know that ki x cannot take negative values, so we will write since x cannot take negative values and the skewness given by, skewness कैसे जाती है, what is the function of formula of gamma function skewness, it's 2 by square root of, look here we have to use equationator, 2 by normal slash backslash to write alpha space to get the fraction. Now we want to move out of the equationator, that's why we use the arrow key. अगर आपने, if you use space bar then you will continue going in the equationator only, so you use arrow key. Bar disappears, this means you are back to the normal text. Okay, 2 by alpha which gives us 1.4 something आएगा which is greater than 1, thus the gamma function with, now I have to use equationator again just for alpha, then equationator again for the lambda. What I would do is simply use the normal typing. I have already taught that lambda is equal to 0.4. Simple, no long question it was. Now let's come to the second part. Show that the CDF function is given by this. So we have to derive the CDF function. CDF function is derived using the integration, right? So firstly, to get the CDF from a density function, we would have to integrate the density function over the range. What is the range for the CDF? The lower range to x. Okay, since it is given infinity, we are not integrating it to infinity, we will integrate it to x. Okay, I'll remove it. We get the equationator, we get fx. Now let's come to the infinity, the harder portion of the equationator. So backslash int, infty, infty for infinite and int is for integration. Space bar. Now we want to place the limits, right? For the lower limit, click this lower case. Okay, then lower limit is 0. For the upper limit, click this. You press this, and what is our upper limit? It's x. So it's x. Now you can clearly see this box. This box shows what should be within the integral. Okay, so whenever we want to move out of this integral, we would need to move out of this box. Cool. So let's type firstly the formula fx and dx. So whenever you press space bar now, you are moving within the box, but you want to get out of this box. To come out of this integral, you have to use the arrow key. Now you can see this blue bar disappears. This means you have come out of the integration sign. Okay, now let's do the function again. Lowercase 0, uppercase wala sign and x. You got the limits. Now we will place the function of PDF. So it was 1 by 4 space bar. Then since we are all we have a range x, that's why we will take it as t. Then e raised to the power. Since we have many more things in the exponential, we will take a bracket, then minus 1 by 2 space t, this space and dt. Again arrow key, not the enter. Then enter to space. Okay. Now let's integrate. We will here use the integration by parts. So fx, I am doing the integration. Please, for conceptual integration, refer to the conceptual class or mention the doubt portal. Okay, so let's do it. Brackets, we get 1 by 4 space t star. Now we have a fraction within it and तो करते हैं e raised to the power minus 1 by 2 t space. Now we have fraction over it, so normal slash and we have minus 1 by 2. So we would use brackets. It's a little complicated. We are going very slow, so make sure you are with us. So again space. Okay, then brackets close, bracket close. Don't worry, they will elongate. Got it? Now limits भी होती हैं. When we get the integration done, we have limits. So again same procedure as we did in integration. For lower limit, lowercase 0. For upper limit, this sign, and we get x. Okay, easy. Then we have this integration sign, again limits, lowercase, this sign, x, this. We have in upper 1 by 2 space t bracket close space. It goes out. अभी मुझे fraction जो चाहिए, I want the fraction in the integration only, so I would not come out of this blue box. I'll normal slash, then minus 1 by 2 brackets closed, again space. Okay, now I want 1 by 4 in the same, and I want a dt. Now I want to come out of this bracket, this blue bar, this integration. That's why I will use the arrow key. Cool. Then space. Fx comes out to be minus 1 by 2 xe. This is the final integration that we are getting. Not the final integration, one step prior. Xe raised to the power minus 1 by 2. Look, I did not use brackets here, right? I wanted to do a mistake. I didn't use brackets here. So you can see our answer went wrong. That's why the use of brackets is very important in equation. It is very, very important. Okay. So let's use Control Z. Yes. It was x e raised to the power minus 1 by 2 x brackets closed, this minus bracket e raised to the power again bracket 1 by 2 space t brackets closed, exponential में गया, bracket closed. Now we have to place the limits. Its lower case is 0, upper is x. Sorry, we did x. Okay. Then coming to our final integration, fx is equal to 1 minus e to the power minus 1 by 2. Sorry, we moved on. 1 minus e minus 1 by 2 x 1 plus 1 by 2 x this. So this is what we were required in the question as well. That's why we are bolding out the answer. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let's move on to the next part. Specify an equation involving x and u, the solution of which will yield the simulated value of x. We know that हम बस CDF को u एक random uniform number के तरीके से मान लेते हैं. So let's move on to a third answer, and it is part A. So we will write the required equation is, we would just simply replace fx with u. Okay, so just bold out the answer. U is equal to 1 minus, let's not write the whole equation, just copy paste it. Okay, so we just selected the whole equation, Control C, then paste it, Control V. Okay, and we need to change, replace this, we replace this with u. This is our final answer. Cool. Then we move to our D portion. Comment briefly on how this equation might be solved. So we have various ways. These are trial and error methods. So let's write it. Let's use pointers here. Okay. So आपको pointers का use समझ आएगा. We can see this bullets point here. So use this bullet point. To simply get this, so first I will write trial and error method. Then I can use table mode on calculator. Okay, and then finally we can have Newton-Raphson method or some other iterative approach. When we have to escape this bullet points, you simply press backspace. Okay, and it is another backspace to reach it, and then we have C. Okay, let's check out the final part of this question. The graph below, the graph below gives this function. So plot करके बताना है. So we can see 0.66 is here and this is coming at 4.5. So we would just simply write it. Again, it's not a numerical portion. So let's write it in the word. Yes. So the simulated value of x is 4.5 when u is 0.66, I guess. So we would just bold this out. I hope this whole question is clear. We would move forward to our next question. Again, remember, for moving to the newer question, what I suggested was control enter. We would be doing now let's check what question we would be doing. We will be doing question number 2.8. Okay. So let's read it out. A random variable follows the log normal distribution with mean 10 and variance 4. Okay, and calculate the probability that the variable will take value between 7.5 and 12.5. This question I will be doing without any equation editor, so that students who do not want to use equation editor can get a gist ki how do we have to do the mathematical typing. Cool. So firstly we would write the inputs, then we would write what we have to find, and then finally solve the answer to get what we are required to find. Okay, so let's do it. 2.8 question we are doing. Press enter. Okay, so we have been given, firstly we have been given the log normal distribution. So let our random variable be x, and it's so x क्या follow कर रहा है? X follows log normal. Log normal को हम कैसे लिखते हैं? Log और n. And variables क्या एक बार देख लेते हैं. We have the log normal distribution के 10 and 4. Okay, mean and वो 10 और 4 है. तो mu क्या है? Mu 10 नहीं है. So let's say it's mu comma sigma square, because we have been given. Now to make it to the upper script, what we will do, some laptops use Control Shift plus, some keyboards use Control Shift plus. I am repeating, Control Shift plus, and we simply write the superscript. Otherwise some only use Control plus. So whatever suits your keyboard, make sure to do that. Otherwise, if none of them works, here is the script. You simply hover the you simply hover the mouse on this. You can get the shortcut that your keyboard follows. Simply hover over it. Now I can see the Control Shift plus. आपकी में जो दिख रहा होगा, that's your shortcut. Similarly for the lower script, here is subscript. This is called superscript. This is called subscript. Simply hover it. I have Control Shift minus here. Yours might be simply Control minus. Cool. And to come back, we again press Control Shift plus. जो आपने की पहले एंटर की थी वही सेम अभी एंटर करोगे. माइनस में if you go to lower script, Control Shift minus, and to come back from the lower script to the normal script, we again press Control Shift minus. अगर आपका कंट्रोल माइनस है तो यू विल प्रेस कंट्रोल माइनस, टाइप द टेक्स्ट एंड देन अगेन प्रेस कंट्रोल माइनस. ठीक है, ब्रैकेट्स क्लोज. नाउ वी हैव बीन गिवन दैट मीन इज इक्वल टू 10 and variance is equal to 4. So we would use the formula simple. So let's write using formulae from tables book page whatever it is. Look, IFOA asks for minimum level of referencing to the tables book, so make sure you remember these references or you are using these references looking at the table book itself. Okay, I am not entering the page number here, but you have to enter the page number here. You are not required to do full-fledged referencing, but at least some amount. Okay, table book this, we get expectation of x is equal to E. Now we have everything in the power, right? So control shift plus, then we have mu backslash mu space plus half. Now half को हम नहीं लिख सकते फ्रैक्शन में, so we simply write 1 divided by 2. This is also considered well. Okay, then we have sigma square, so backslash sigma, and we can't do square here because once we press control shift plus again it comes back to the normal script, so we'll simply use this sign. Okay, now we want to come back to the normal script, we again press control shift plus, space is equal to 10. This lets me create equation 1. So for spacing, since I want to go to a decent amount of space, I will simply write it as 1. Then enter. Then let us write the equation of the variance. Variance is e to the power 2 mu plus sigma square. Then normal script में e to the power sigma square minus 1. So let's write it. ध्यान से लिखते हैं e raised to the power. तो control shift plus 2 mu, 2 backslash mu space plus sigma square backslash ब्रैकेट ले लेते हैं बिकॉज हम स्क्वायर नहीं लगा पाएंगे. सिग्मा स्पेस square, brackets closed. Then we have everything in the normal script, so control shift plus to go back to the normal script. Then again we have a bracket e, then we again have into the superscript control shift plus, then we have sigma square, so sigma, or we have square. ठीक है, coming back to the normal script, control shift plus minus 1 brackets closed, this is equal to 4, and we want to go to the space, so we will press tab. देखो tab has a good feature that it balances out both these. Okay, so you get to balance out these. Now squaring both the equations and squaring equations first and substituting in equation 2 we get. Okay, आप नॉर्मली सिर्फ लिख सकते हो, यू डू नॉट नीड टू हैव टू शो स्क्वायरिंग द इक्वेशन एंड देन फाइनली सब्स्टिट्यूटिंग इट, यू कैन सिंपली राइट इट, दैट्स इक्वली एक्सेप्टेबल. ओके, सो वी गेट vx इज इक्वल टू 10 का स्क्वायर, सो कंट्रोल शिफ्ट प्लस 2, कंट्रोल शिफ्ट प्लस नॉर्मल स्क्रिप्ट, देन वी हैव ब्रैकेट e, कंट्रोल शिफ्ट प्लस बैकस्लैश सिग्मा square, coming back to the normal equation, minus 1 equal to 4. Okay, now solving this we get e backslash sigma square control shift plus to get to the normal script minus 1 is equal to this 10 ka square will go to the divide side, so this will become 0.04. Then finally we get sigma square sigma. Now we can do square normally, so control shift plus to normal script is equal to ln 1.04 bracket close is equal to 0.3922 0.03922. we would bold out because हमारा एक पैरामीटर निकल गया. ओके, and controlling enter. Now look, after I press the enter we can see it is already in the superscript. ऊपर से भी देख सकते हैं, otherwise we can see a smaller cursor, that's why we will press control shift enter to get to the normal script. Cool. So let's find mu now. So substituting this value of sigma square into equation 1. So we get our backslash mu is equal to log 10 minus half, again हाफ क्योंकि हम फ्रैक्शन नहीं बना सकते हैं, और सिग्मा बैकस्लैश सिग्मा देन स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू कंट्रोल बी दबाया हमने फॉर गेटिंग द बोल्ड आंसर 2.2830. नाउ वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट द प्रोबेबिलिटी, राइट. अभी तो हमने सिर्फ क्या कैलकुलेट किया है, द पैरामीटर्स. सो आर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस बिकम आर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन दैट इज x नाउ फॉलोज लॉग नॉर्मल, क्या फॉलो कर रहे हैं, 2.283 कॉमा 0.0392. ओके, नाउ व्हाट वी हैव टू फाइंड इज probability that x is between 7.5 and 12.5. 7.5 less than x less than 12.5. Okay, space equal to, so we can write it like probability x is less than 12.5 minus probability x is less than 7.5. Okay, since it is a log normal distribution, it is a continuous distribution, so we do not need to think about the less than equal to sign. Okay, so this becomes, both sides let us multiply by ln to convert into standard normal distribution. So we get ln x is less than ln 12.5 minus probability ln x is less than ln 7.5. Okay, ignore these red bars, these are meant to be coming in the mathematical typing, so no worries about that. Then we use probability z, we standardize it. Okay, how do we do it? Please make sure to focus on the brackets here. Okay, space. Now for the numerator we are using a bracket, and for the denominator we would be using an individual bracket. Okay, so here we have ln 12.5 minus ln, sorry, minus the mu that is 2.283, denominator पूरा हुआ, numerator पूरा हुआ, then normal slash, then we get square term, right. So we get square in brackets, then square root, then we have 0.0392 bracket close. This bracket is for denominator. Now we want the bracket to close for this as well, for this as well. So brackets close. Okay, this is only for this. अब हमें same चीज we have to write for this. So let's write as minus probability. Bracket start for the probability. Z less than sign. Again bracket for the numerator. ln 7.5 minus mu, which is 2.283. Bracket close for the numerator. Slash for the fraction. Bracket start for the denominator. Then we have backslash square root for the square root. Then हम अंदर square root में डालेंगे 0.0392. Bracket close for the denominator. Now we have a bracket close for the probability. So this is okay. Though it might not look very presentable, but it's acceptable in the exam given that आपको समझ आ रहा है. Okay. Now we have to use phi, because phi is the CDF of the normal distribution, right? So backslash, we have a bigger phi. The smaller phi is for PDF, the bigger phi is for CDF, and we are calculating the CDF. So we would use capital P and rest letters are small. Got it? Brackets 1.226, जो इसकी calculated value आएगी, minus again backslash capital P and जो इसकी calculated value आएगी that is 1.354. And finally जब आप इसको solve करेंगे, this will come out to be 0.8020. This is your final answers. I hope this is clear. Let's keep this class till here because it's already been 40 minutes. Okay. We have only considered 2 questions here. In the further classes, we would be covering further chapters as well. If any of you wants a specific question to solve, okay, I am ready to solve it. Please message the institute and enter it in the doubt portal. We would be solving them in the further classes if you want a specific question to be solved. Okay. Till then, revise these notations. try practicing these as much as possible, because if you are only cramming these notations, you are not going to write in the final exam. So please give in sufficient amount of time to practice these mathematical typings in the word. Okay, a decent amount of presentation is required. You do not need to decorate your answer sheet or do a heavy typing. Okay, a decent कि आपको भी समझ आए and the examiner is also able to understand it. Okay, so till then, have a nice day and prepare your best. Thank you.